Refining is a very tough business, and when you think about the tariffs that are being proposed right now, a 10% tariff on crude oil coming out of Canada will be a major hit to refiners, primarily in the Midwest. We import 4 million barrels of oil a day from Canada. It's about 60% of U.S. imports. And a tariff on those volumes will hit those Midwest refiners, who, by the way, their equipment is set up to process that heavy sour Canadian crude. So it's, while they could go and buy U.S. produced shale crude, which is generally lighter and sweeter, but their refineries will not operate nearly as efficiently. So feedstock costs will go down, but they'll operate much less efficiently and probably net negative. So it's...
And there's nothing, I mean, do they pass that along to me and
ultimately
the drivers?
Ultimately, it's going to land in the consumer's laps. Yes.
Right. Interesting.
When you take a look at clean fuel, like this is cleaner, but it's not like e-gasoline or anything like that.
That's right. This is cleaner. Verde can produce fully renewable and even carbon negative gasoline. But the fact is that when you do that, the revenues are heavily dependent on carbon credits.
Right.
And there's no term market for carbon credits. It's very much a spot kind of short-term market. So that does not lend itself well to project financing. When we use natural gas as a feedstock, when you can make the connection between a flare going away and us taking that natural gas would have otherwise been flared to produce gasoline, that gasoline is about 30% less carbon intensive than gasoline that comes from crude oil. So there is a pretty meaningful environmental win there. But that's the focus is commercial. This is taking zero value natural gas or negative value natural gas and turning it into something that has a lot of value.
You guys are based in Houston?
Yes.
Okay, so the center of this country's energy industry in Houston. What's the feeling there about the transition or the evolution, the transition to greener energy in general? Is the momentum slowing because of who's in the White House? Is there some inevitability that it's just going to go at its own pace? What's the feeling there?
I kind of think that most of the capacity to make this transition lives within the major E&P companies, major integrated oil companies, already.
Yep.
So those are the players that are going to make the largest contribution to an energy transition. And so I think that we're going to see a lot less in the way of mandates and a lot less of regulators picking winners and losers, and it'll be much more market driven, I think, as it should be. But ultimately the people that can contribute most to that are the legacy integrated energy companies.
How did the conversation and development with Diamondback come about?
Well, we were in the process of going public, of listing on NASDAQ, and Diamondback came to us and said, we have been canvassing the market and have really kind of zeroed in on your process as one that can really help us with this natural gas problem that we have in the Permian Basin. And post Diamondback's merger with Endeavor, they went from a large oil company with a gas problem to a very large oil company with an even bigger gas problem. And so now they've got meaningful volumes of natural gas that that are not getting the value that it should.
Can I ask one more question?
Go.
I'm looking at Paul. Okay. If we wind up getting easier permitting, though, from the Trump administration, and we get the ability to get natural gas out of the Permian in an efficient way to then export it, does that mess up your model?
It really doesn't. There is such an overhang of natural gas, and Texas is already the most friendly environment, in the states for building pipeline capacity. In the last couple of years, there have been at least two 48-inch, enormous pipelines taking gas out of the basin. The Permian has the benefit of the Gulf Coast and the LNG terminals there in Corpus Christi. So there are places to go with that natural gas, but the volumes are just enormous. And so we are very comfortable that we have a very long runway in the Permian with Diamondback and others, where there's always going to be gas that can't get out of that basin.